Dear Venerable Sir, Dhamma friends, we are going to start another question and answer session. As usual, we'll start with the written questions and keeping the invitation open for anyone to raise questions or statements. So I'd like to invite Sudhu Hamduru.
Venerable Swamin Vahanse, in the Eightfold Path, Sati, Samadhi, and Prajna are placed last, but Samma, Ditthi, and Sankappa are placed at the beginning. Please comment.
So Samma Ditthi and Samma Sankappa represent Panya or the wisdom. So order there is wisdom, Sila, Samadhi, Panya, Sila, Samadhi, or wisdom, morality, and the concentration. But in the normal presentation of the path, it says Sila, Samadhi, Panya, morality, concentration, and the wisdom. But here, the wisdom comes first. So that is why it says these all three specifically, Sila and Panya, they are reciprocal each other. Specifically in the Tevijja Sutta. No, it is not the Tevijja Sutta. Buddha is explaining and Buddha is appreciating most important thing in this spiritual development is the morality and the wisdom. Only the wise people can be morally sound. Only the moral sound people can be wise. So, the order, whenever you become more moral or more virtuous, it is facilitating more and more wisdom. That very wisdom you earn, in return, again boosting up your own morality or virtues. So, therefore, order, it is changed, but the relationship is reciprocal right from the beginning. It is very prominent towards the Noble Eightfold Path. So therefore, the normal presentation is someone distorted like. Normal presentation is Sila, Samadhi, Panya, or morality, concentration of the wisdom. Here the wisdom comes first, and then Samadhi, Anga, or restrainment regarding the virtues, and then the concentration. So this is the way you are also evolving, path also evolving, the order, the normal order also evolving. That is why we keep right from the beginning, each and everything is reciprocal each other, so that you have to keep your openness to the path.
Venerable Bhante, I have been trying to experience the return journey from wandering mind for the last few days, and I want to report an experience yesterday. During the evening walking meditation session, I got angry about something small, and then it wandered into something else, and pretty soon I was overwhelmed by anger. I was able to get the focus to walking time to time, but most of the time I was running away with anger. I remembered your advice and tried not to be frustrated. I believed anger will disappear and I can be with the primary object. However, it was a continuous struggle. After a while, I felt a motion in my pelvis is becoming prominent and I can keep my focus on it. I had lots of energy built up due to the anger, and I felt happy about it because I can do the meditation without any boredom or sleepiness due to this. Eventually, my anger completely disappeared, and I was happy about this turnaround. With the same happiness and energy, I continued sitting meditation, and it went really well. I will share this a later day. As per your advice, all of this was achieved with staying positive and trying to bring the focus back into the primary object in an unmindful situation. It has been a real blessing to practice meditation under your guidance. May you achieve your goals in this life itself, and the blessings of the noble gems be with you all the way.
So this is the right start, and when you go prepared, the situation is completely different, and there's a huge depth in this, or you have to learn a lot about that. Everything will be covered whenever you become disappointed and the fault finding with yourself. Instead, if you go there, openness, and my own task or my main task, my prime task is to understand the return journey, first and foremost thing is evenly suspended attention or choiceless awareness. Then there's a huge depth in it, and you can understand each and every bit of or ingredient of anger is a source of knowledge. Each and every bit of desire is a knowledge. So if you do not know, definitely it is going to contribute to the defilements. When you go prepared, it has become double positive. And each and everything be a cause for gladness or rapture. So ultimately you find how to recycle this anger and the desire and ultimately make a very nice balanced compost fertilizer, just like thrown away matters from your household. And that compost is organic and natural and balanced fertilizer. So therefore, earlier, if you become angry with the anger, it's perpetuation. The moment you know how to look at the anger or be aware of the return journey without negative feeling, without any hesitation or miscalculation, it's a vast opening of another door to your subconscious, and you feel the Buddha or spirituality or virtues or merits or skillfulness. It's just the other way around. It is not long-lasting and overnight or long process. So quick, so electric thing happen. So this is just a start. So you have to go a long journey. More and more you go, you feel each and every incident, you can put it into a positive way, in a recycling way. That is we call yoniso manasikara. So once started, anything happen, anything come along your path, indicate a message. It's a messenger. So far you have been negating and fighting and dismissing the messenger without getting the message. Now you never dismiss any person or any negative thing. You try to get the messenger as well as the message, and you find big emotions, gives big knowledges. So more and more you become mindful with the choicelessness, your capacity to hold the big emotions up. The last hurdle, Olympic game is the deathbed. At the death, when the death happens, how much you can appreciate it and be with it, so that you can go through it, not without getting desperate and you completely become surrendered, but instead you can go through it. So when that, you become eternal. So eternality will never happen unless otherwise you learn the art of going through the death or the mortal body, the soul. So this is the kind of a rehearsal in a small scale, and keep that trend without restricting to the walking meditation, sitting meditation and day-to-day activities in the center. But anything happen even in your day-to-day life, but don't expect it to happen for each and every incident or experience or object. When and where possible, let it happen. Ultimately, it will gather the momentum.
Dear Bhante, please forgive me for asking a question in a format you do not approve. I am asking it because I'm afraid of going astray as I lack clear understanding. I note the primary object as the in and out breath. Gradually, I observe my breath becoming calm. After a while, my mind automatically shifts to other objects, and these seem to become the next primary object, such as bodily sounds, bodily movements, pulse or blood flow, body temperatures. Mindfulness remains intact within the body while these changes take place. I believe that varietal entertainment is not progress in meditation. Are these automatic shifts varietal entertainment? Please comment. What am I doing wrong? Should I bring my attention back to my breath by force, or should I just let things happen and focus on whatever is happening from moment to moment? Because these shifts are automatic, I don't know what to do differently to correct my practice. May you attain Nibbana in this life itself. Metta.
So this is primary object. More and more you become closer, immediate and plunging into. There are a lot of side effects or byproducts happening. These are the byproduct. Around the primary object, a lot of other things are happening. So it is an endowment, it's a gift, it's not a problem. So therefore, if you have doubts, concentrate to the primary object. If you have no doubt, let everything happen. Anything happen because you are already protected. You are inside the body. You are in mindfulness. You are in precepts. You are in the Shraddha or belief. So therefore, they are not shaken. Now you do not know how to handle byproducts. So you are mixing up and asking where to focus the attention. Not necessarily any focusing. Let that thing happen. If anything, any doubt happens, uncertainty happens, fearfulness happens, just focus to the primary object. If there is no doubt, it is come or go Chicago. Jump. So that is what I feel, the boldness. That's a radical way you must go, that you have to understand this all wobbling, bubbling and stiffness, tension, movements, everything is due to your mindfulness. It is not a threat for you. It is not a problem for you. It's a byproduct. And meanwhile, if you wish, you can have the primary object also. But you must go and verify with the primary object only if you have a hindrance called the doubt. Entertaining doubt is a habitual thing. It need no any kind of base. Even without any basis, doubt can happen. So you have to learn it. It's often happen with unbased. So are you going to support it? Yes, if you are going to support it, that means you are entertaining doubts without your desire or even beyond your agenda. Then just go to the primary object and verify. As far as you have the verifiability, you never gone wrong. But still you are bold, still you are radical, just let it happen. Anything. So, Pandita Sayadaw, when he is asking this, he says, in the household, in our houses, specifically in the old houses, you have group photos. And when you see the group photo, you can see your uncle or aunt, your mother or brother is in the photo, but the rest of the people you don't know. But you are holding there in the wall, because of that you are relative. Maybe they are sitting and standing and the group photo in front of a big building. And when you are looking at your friend or your brother or your relative, but all the others are there. You are not cut and keep only your friend or your relative and remove the whole frame. You keep it there, but when you are looking, you are keeping there on the wall because of your relative. But he is in a group photo. He may be in the third person in the second row from the left. But when you are looking, if you need clarification, why that photo is here? Because of that your relative. But the relative is part and parcel of maybe 50 people. So all the others, it's just keeping there. It is not a problem for you. When you are looking at the photo, you are looking at your relative. Likewise, your primary object is the relative. So it is endowed, it is surrounded by so much of other realistic, under the nose, undeniable experience. So let them be there. Moment you learn the art of choiceless awareness, they cease to exist. Moment you start to doubt or fear, they become agitated. You become agitated. The mindfulness is threatened. Concentration threatened. Under such circumstances, hold on to the primary object in order to calm down. As a pivot, or as a benchmark, or as a reference point. But if you have any doubt or any kind of thing, just let it happen. So that is the way you are relating now, your primary object with the other objects also under the nose happening. And later, same way, you can develop other inferential knowledge or the rational knowledge or deductive knowledge, so that for training only you get these byproducts. It's very good. The presentation of question also good. But with this instruction in your mind, you have to do away with your doubting. Not by negating it. Whenever doubt happens, go to the primary object or your sitting posture. If there are no doubts, all frog, jump into the old pond, plop. That's it. That is what you call vipassana.
Most Venerable Bhante, my meditation object is the abdomen rising and falling. The object is seized normally within about a half an hour time. Thoughts are coming from time to time. I could identify the thoughts easily. As you mentioned in your Dhamma talk, do I have to identify these thoughts as pancha nivara, 5 hindrances, and putting into bags? Is this the proper way to progress my meditation with metta? May you attain nibbana in this very life. Thero sadhana.
So you are handling on thought if it is intruding, if it is disturbing. Otherwise, if it is in the background, if they are inner thoughts, by handling you are aggravating them. By selecting you aggravate them. Select them or categorize them if they are hindering you, disturbing your primary object. Otherwise, let the sleeping tigers to sleep. Don't agitate, don't mingle with them. So this is the point I told in the second day or third day. You don't know which to be pay attention, which to not to be. It is very difficult to give a technical writing. Therefore, you keep as much as possible with the primary object. There are no other hindrances, there are no other distractions. They may be in the background, but as far as you can keep face to face with the primary object, don't worry about them. When and where sound or thought or pain distracting you, closing your primary object, disturbing, then only you have to be aware of that. And then primary object is going to make some other shades, some other different perceptions. And when that also happens, if you have doubts, refer back to the primary object. Otherwise, if you're bold enough, just see how much you can keep up this already earned mindfulness and the concentration. So this is a kind of a practical, pragmatic thing. Even if you are aware, repetitive application going to give, our mind is always finding something, unwanted thing, and make ourselves busy and make us eccentric. Anything appearing, even the Buddha appear on the path, knock him down immediately. Because our historical Buddha already passed away, nothing to worry. So many people stop meditation and start venerating Buddha because it's hard to find the Buddha on the meditation. So they wait and say, Bhante, Dhammajiva Hamsa is not so good, you are very good. Can you give a kammatthana or can you give an object of meditation? You are going to venerate the Buddha appearing in your dreams. So therefore, in Mahayana books it says, if you are to meet the Buddha, knock him down immediately. Because it is that image is appearing to make you eccentric. Even if you see Nibbana, consider it's an unwashed shit on your toilet. Because Nibbana is not such a thing you can see. You will understand, you keep on mindfulness, keep on the concentration. Anything appearing, consider it as like a peck on your eye. It is irritating. Under such circumstances, even then if you have no doubt, you can carry on. If you have any doubts, any uncertainty, any fearfulness, just refer back to the primary object, even though it is boring. And that is the way, when and where you become mature, you can proceed your meditation without a master. You can rectify, you can answer your question, but till that, the outside person may help you if you are lucky enough, and if it is available, keep that as a reference point. But main thing is the mindfulness. So whether it is actually happening like thought, pain or sounds or mind-made thing, these all are nothing but to make you eccentric. So your main task is to bring the mind back to the track.
Venerable Swami Vahansa, as a first-timer, I got supportive instructions for mindfulness. However, you commented on those who teach Vipassana and promoting Dana Sila as a way of getting rid of samsara. Sometimes we are confused to select the suitable path. Please comment.
So these two ways, if you are coming from the traditional background, something like born Buddhist in Sri Lanka also, definitely generally as a cultural training, you get the Dana and Sila on general basis. What is lacking is the meditation. If you are a American or other person coming from the West, you have meditation or Vipassana, but you don't know Dana Sila. So therefore, according to the personality, you have to understand the three have kind of a mutual, the reciprocal effect. So therefore, if you feel you have Dana Sila already done, and due to this Dana Sila, if you get a chance to go meditation, while in a permanent or residential retreat, don't waste your time for Dana Sila. It is that you are adhering to the good in front of the better. But if you are a beginner for meditation and never thought about and heard about Sila, even then in the retreat, it is not time for you to go for Dana Sila, but you have to see whether you have that kind of a sharing with the fellow beings in terms of generosity and the morality. So in the retreat, we are basically give instructions and help promote meditation, but reminding each and everyone, it never get holding or rooting unless otherwise it is backed by Dana and Sila. So therefore, Mahasi Sayadaw or Upanita Sayadaw, they are the people started this way, 10-day retreats, 14-day fortnight retreats or 7-day retreats. They says, while you are in the permanent or intensive retreat, don't waste time on the Dana Sila. But otherwise, if your meditation is not progressing, just look back and see whether you have fulfilled the Dana Sila. So that is the way generally you have to handle it. Without knowing the background, I can't give more details. So if necessary, you may rephrase the question and we can take it and discuss further.
Venerable Swami Vahansa, what are the characteristics of full mindfulness? And second question, how to get kids to be interested in the Buddha's teachings?
Don't have kids first. Then that means you asking problem. And then after having, of course, now it may be too late, and then if you are mindful back at home, your children literally follow the suit. If without you being unmindful, they will be utterly disturbed because they are born mindful children. Parents are the real culprit, disturb them. Look at them. They never do irrational thing. They're so rational whatever they are doing. You are the people pushing them to be cultured. That's the way you distort them. Whatever the culture you learn, it's a cancer. It's a distraction. So therefore, it's a difficult thing. Of course, we must consider the children are the future generation. We have to keep mindfulness. Main distraction is, or main hindrance, or main obstacle is the parents. They don't know. Sometimes without their practicing, they want their children to practice. Or they take their rights to be unmindful at home, And so showing that example in front of children, and whatever the condition, whatever the mindfulness condition you are going to do, it will be a failure. So earlier the children better. So as a general guideline, we can say walking meditation is much easier for children because they find it is, because their body is very dynamic and therefore sitting difficult. So walking meditation will be easier. But the main thing is the background or good vibration or good example or role model. So therefore that when you are doing walking meditation, you can entertain or you can accompany your child or grandchild, then you can see how you are step by step you become how mindful to your meditation as well as they are following it. So therefore, for my little experience, the walking meditation will be more attractive for the children. So you may read the early part of the question, please. For foundation of mindfulness.
What are the characteristics of full mindfulness?
Full mindfulness.
Yes, full mindfulness.
Full, F-U-L-L.
Full, F-U-L-L.
Yeah. So whenever you become full mindful, you are no more. You are an arahant. So no character, no person. So till that you have any kind of a vacuum, any kind of lacking, you are there. I am. Yourself, your conceit and your desire. When and where you become full mindful, there is no person to experience. So therefore, in the history of the mankind, no one has thrown a party for achieving full mindfulness. The person dissolves. If the mindfulness becomes full and full and full, you dissolve. So who the hell going to throw parties?
Dear Bhante, during sitting meditation last night, I had an incredible experience. I noticed the in-breath as a cooling sensation on the rim of the nostril and the out-breath as a gush. I focused and followed the full cycle of the breath. After several minutes, I noticed that the breath had taken on a form like a wisp and seemed to be moving in and out of the body like it had a will of its own. A few minutes later, I noticed that I had become the wisp and my body was a separate entity. I was jarred out of this state by a sudden noise, and I opened my eyes and felt very relaxed and lightheaded. I have been trying to re-enter this state today without success so far. Please advise with metta.
So what is happening is an accident. So next time also you have to sit and practice just like a beginner, and whatever the basics or ABC, how to install mindfulness, whenever it comes to a momentum or alignment, this kind of a unknown area or novelty going to happen. When such a thing happen, our mind naturally develops fear. That is coming due to our evolutional instinct. Our evolution is always try to keep we in our seasoned habitat or known area. So whenever it is going out of, it becomes fearful. So therefore you are learning the art of not to be fearful in novelty or in unknown area. So otherwise our whole character or our whole way of thinking can be explained through the fear of freedom. We want everything fixed. Whenever freedom comes, we become very agitated. But we appear like freedom fighters. But anything new happen, we become shivering, vomitish, nauseatic, allergic. So that is why the Buddha says that is natural, therefore go with the faith, go with your precepts, go with mindfulness, and go with the preparedness for this something new. But by just mere preparation, by expectation, it will happen. So you have to start like a beginner, and whenever the mindfulness come up to a certain extent, or certain alignments, or certain maturity, this happening of this unexpected thing, or anicca, or changing nature, the flux. This is a starting point. But we reject it. We have phobia. We have a allergic reaction. Therefore, we don't allow it to happen. That's why it says, like a frog jump into the old pond, plop. That is the way you have no reaction. Not assuming anything. You just let it happen. It's very difficult. You must be so generous. You must be so bold. You must be so prepared. So this is something indicating you have the potential. But not only by expectation, by preparedness, go again and learn the art of how to be a beginner. And when the mindfulness comes to that maturity, again, that same thing happen. Some other that kind of a new thing can happen.
Venerable Sir, please enlighten us on the appropriate way, cultured way of partaking of food. Sometimes it's not a pleasant sight the way some people eat. Please advise us with metta.
It is very difficult to go in plural. Individually you can do it. Because people are very violent in sex as well as in food. You can look at the animals. They are very violent in these two. So therefore group training, hopeless. And simply mind your own business and don't bite your tongue, eat. A simple thing. Don't look at others. So all the problem happens, you are looking at others' plate. Then you are asking trouble. You can eat, look at your plate, and no problem. There is no biting you into your tongue or nothing. So therefore, don't worry about the large scale or group kind of culturing. Impossible. Never. Don't expect it. Imagine if you wish to be cultured by yourself, that itself is a task. Unachievable task sometimes within the life. So how can you think about making other people cultured? That is what you call kind of a vested interest. You become a mercenary. You can be a merciless person. So therefore, that is why the household life. So when you come here, we organization take care of the disciplinary code and kind of thing. You adhere to the discipline and mind your own business.
Dear Bhante, in Anapana meditation, breath ceases and I reach the void state. Primary object, in-breath and out-breath, is no more. When the mind is focused on here I am, the body doesn't feel. In such situations, the mind naturally stays in the space within. Dear Bhante, can the space be considered as the object at that moment? Much merits to you for guiding us. May you be able to achieve the Four Noble Truths with metta.
As far as the materiality ceases to exist, the space is the one left behind. Some people can focus it, but space is not an object that you can focus with your carnal senses. Our senses are not geared to see negative or nothing. Always it is asking some object, something to hang, and that's what we call object of meditation. But when and where you see your selected primary object is disappearing or waning off and disappearing off, ultimately you end up with mindfulness without an object. They are, literally we say, now we are met up with space. But very hardly we can say, hardly we can focus the space. And in Zen Kwans, they say, what is the sound of a clap of one hand? If it is not hitting with others, what is the sound? You can't. So likewise, the theoretical you can ask, but try it. Is there any choice for you? Only thing you can do is do away with the available materiality or elements, and when it is happening, when it's no more, don't get bewildered, don't get frightened, just be aware. Literally that means you are met up with the space.
Most Venerable Bhante, I started the sitting meditation focusing on here I am, but I could not get the focus to the body. Instead, thoughts were overflowing. I knew I was sitting as time to time I felt the posture, no sign of breath or swing, and I knew that thoughts were coming one after the other. I did not have any control to bring the mind back to the posture, but was just observing. I felt like I am mindful about unmindfulness. After some time, I wasn't even sure whether I'm awake or sleeping. I had spent 45 minutes like this, and I felt enough, so I got up. This was a sitting meditation report with many merits to you.
So as far as when you are thinking, if you know thinking, that is the mindfulness. Thing is that throughout that, unnoticed hatred is there. So therefore, even if you are mindful, you have the hatred to the object of mindfulness. So therefore, it is very tiring, wearing and tearing. So therefore, try if possible materiality like your posture, or in and out gushing air column, or if it is not available, a sound or thought or pain can be object of meditation, but the thing is you have the hatred. So as far as the hatred is there, mind and this object never have a friendly relationship or nearing each other. Repulsivity happens. So therefore, this hatred itself may be to your own sitting posture, may be to your own breath. The phobia or perverted minds, that is the way it happens. So, whatever you focus, you can't see, because you hate it. And when the thought happens, you can see it is really, you can focus, but you are not happy because you hate the thought. But the thought is happening here now, verily happening, under your very nose, but you hate it. So therefore this character, it's a hate character. Just love your body. Therefore it says, your body must be your best friend. So just see whether you are sit comfortably, see whether you are sit symmetrically, and relax way, and don't focus anything. Make yourself, you are at comfort, or relax. See the relaxation. And then you can see it is nothing to prove. It is nothing to solidify or concrete. You see the relaxed way, or otherwise make it relaxed. And try to be there, even 5 minutes enough. Then you will come back to the reality. Otherwise your hatred is the one distorting the clear view.
Venerable Bhante, I start my meditation by looking at my body and the vibrations. In a short time, it shifts to observing the mind. I feel mind moving rapidly away from the body to a distance. Then again, it starts observing vibrations. Sometimes, everything simultaneously, including the breath in the background. Is this correct? It happens automatically. Much metta.
If it is something happening, it is correct. If it is something doing, that is wrong. So therefore, as far as it is something happening, as far as you can look at from a distance observation, well and good. Continue, and ultimately dust will settle, the situation will be clear.
Dear Bhante, when one experiences disappearance of the breath while doing sitting meditation, it goes to a very calm state. Does this lead to niravisa sevaya?
Niravisa sukhaya.
Will development of this state amount to cheto vimuktiya?
That's it.
That's it.
So as far as you are going to find a label for that, you are in trouble. Niramisa means no amisa, no visual object, no sounds, no smell, no taste, no touch. Whenever your attention and experience is based on a visual sound, visual object or sound, or smell, or taste, or touch, that is called amisa. That's tangible, physical. Niramisa is no such a thing, but still you are in a happy state. You are in a contented state. You are in a peaceful state. So that is what you call the Niramisa Sukha. That is indicating your bloody fool mind. There is another equilibrium without that very materialistic thing. And it is far superior than this earned Sukhaya through the Amisa. So once that happens only, mind can have a hope, kind of a hope, even a bit of hope to the liberation. So that is called Cheto Vimutti. So you have to first and foremost let these two Sukha, Amisha, the materialistic, and Niramisha, immaterial, make it so equal, or rather it says the Niramisa Sukha must be your second nature. It must be feel like you at home. Then only mind is enough capability or potential to liberate. So make it more and more familiar and more frequent. Facilitate as much as possible for that.
Venerable Bhante, while doing sitting meditation, I was watching the start of the in-breath, and then I became calm and light, and the body was not felt. Then some thoughts flashed across, and I noticed them, and they vanished. Then a pain was felt. I watched it for some time, and it got worse and worse, though no body felt the pain increase. I stretched my legs, and the pain slowly disappeared, and then again I came back to the in-breath, and again I felt calm and light. Should I have watched the pain more without stretching the legs? Please explain with metta.
So I don't see any necessity for a explanation, but only thing is, when the pain happens, while you are with the primary object, maybe in sitting, and if the pain become unbearable or excruciating, then either you can keep on observing so much so that you become very agitated and hatred to the pain, but still you can keep on. Or otherwise you can understand the pain is distracting and overpowering the mindful power of the primary object. So you can see what is the body is asking. The pain is a sign or signal the body is asking. You have to consult the body. Or to the body knowledge, it will say, okay, you can sit, but I have to stretch my leg. No problem. Or maybe little bit of adjustment. If that is the advice you get, do that adjustment slowly, mindfully, silently. And see if that is relieving the pain, can you again go back to the primary object? If yes, your strategy is successful. But don't expect, soon again the pain starts. Even though it is telling, yes, after the stretching, everything okay. But yes, it is happening truly, but soon it starts. Again the same thing. When and where the pain overpowering your primary object, and if you feel unbearable, do adjustments on necessity, on utility, and again try to see whether you can start on the primary object as a beginner. So when it is happening, as far as pain is come up to the level or overpowering level, you see the pain as such. Whenever it is unbearable, you do, but do it in SMS. Slowly, mindfully, silently, and reassuring your relationship with the primary object. When such a thing happens, this is the maximum pragmatic thing you can do. But I will assure, if you are doing like that, again and again your time period will be increased with the primary object, pain will be less and less. Don't hate pains or don't expect pain to not to come. Do it with SMS.
Venerable Bhante, in the first 2 days of the program, I wrote my questions about how I observed my primary object and the subsequent experience. You advised me to keep on going because I was on the correct path. Somehow, this late in the program, I feel like I have dramatically gone off the track. Some bad experiences related to people and some unpleasant incidents where I got hurt very much keep on coming to my mind. After about 2 days, Now I am doing okay with watching my breath in sitting meditation at the early morning session. Thereafter, I have tried to do sitting and walking alternatively to see if I can do small segments and be productive in avoiding bad thoughts to get my mind in the primary object. I have been able to feel the breath again and distinguish between in-breath and out-breath intermittently. However, that is how far it goes. My early experience of nothingness has never come back for a few days now. Your kind advice is warmly welcome in progressing further, with many merits and metta.
So this is a kind of a way in between have object or no object. So for a person like this, ask the question when you go to the cessation of object, and again it may come or not. Under such circumstances, which one you like, the no object situation or with object situation? For people like this will say no object, the nothingness is better. But he or she do not know, when you develop such an attachment, whenever you won't get that nothingness, that is the problem again. Another frustration. So therefore that nothingness is an endowment. It is yesterday's or last day good meditation, but you have a kind of a desire to go to the nothingness without fulfilling causes. And ultimately lack of nothingness itself is a frustration. So therefore Buddha never presented it to create new frustration, but it is the way, whatever arising you are holding to, you don't know the beginner's mind. It gives, again withdraw. Again giving, again withdraw. So you learn how to develop it again and again. So therefore enormous patience you must have. So instead, other people, that's another kind of people, they consider nothingness is the vacuum. It's a negative. It is nihilistic. There should have something. So such people are force breathing. Never allow breath to ceases, because they think whenever the breath ceases, I either fall asleep and no object of meditation, though hate nothingness. So therefore nothingness by itself is not a source of hate or desire, but due to our attitudes we impose it, so much so we frustrate. So therefore fulfill your causes without expecting any results. That must be your outlook. Otherwise, the experience, last experience may be a cause of frustration today if you have such a desire. So that means you are progressing, but anyway, you don't know how to facilitate it and how to put it in the correct way. So therefore, if the things are aligned, the nothingness will come. For that you have to fulfill duties, fulfill causes, and you are on the way. Again it may come the day you go unexpected. But prepared. You prepared, but without any expectation. That can happen. But don't make a point again to develop some kind of attachment for that.
Most Venerable Swamin Vahansa, in meditation sittings, I have been experiencing very short spells of being totally unaware of breath, body, and thoughts. This has been happening for quite a while now, and I have been attributing it to a state I have heard being mentioned as Hita Hanganava or Leenabhavya. Mind's going into Leenabhavya. Mind's going into hiding. Therefore, I did not mention it before. These spells happen in two different ways. Sometimes I know just before getting there and also realize coming out of it. It appears to be happening very quickly, and the duration of being in that state too appears very short, almost like a few seconds. At other times I go there and get jolted back, as if a huge truck whizzed past me. No sound, of course. When that happens, my experience is that I was unaware of going into that state, and also cannot tell how long I was in that totally unaware state. I feel that too is a very short spell. I did not report this before, as I attributed it to the earlier mentioned state, but after the Dhamma talk about the void, I thought I should clarify it. I wish to state that I am 100% aware that these are not sleep episodes. I have verified that as a fact time and again. I would greatly appreciate an explanation about what I am experiencing.
So that this is the way that little advanced compared to the last person. Last person is frustrated, nothingness not happens and only the breath is happening. But he just immediately read, sometimes nothingness, sometimes object. And there is no agenda. It happened reciprocally. You understand it is happening without yourself, without your motivation, it's a volition and will, and you are slowly getting distance from that happening. So more and more you go there, you can understand have and have not fighting each other, and you have no any choice, whether it's have or it is have not. So this is the way you get the distance. More you get distance, more you away from the frustration, more you away from the tension. So it's never happened by one day, one event overnight. 1,001 times it has to happen. So everything you can boil down to single statement. Main thing is not to worry. Even it's a nothingness or even it's a having something, as far as they are reciprocal and you are really vividly knowing and you are 100% mindful, you have a full chance to not to worry. So much so, you are at ease. You are at the comfort zone. You are in the least frictional path, and still that can be refined. So therefore keep on continuing. While continuing, you will learn your own ways and means, how to go into that quickly and how to stay there without complaints, without get sides, this or that, and without try to catch lion share, just let it happen. So it is a kind of letting go, but with full 100% mindfulness, vigilance.
Venerable Bhante, have you any advice or practical suggestions on ways we could cultivate metta in our everyday activities with respect and metta?
So if you can sit and radiate metta to yourself, I will assure you sitting is 100% success. If you do not have metta, you start right from the head, and throughout you are hating each and everything happening, and you will get up with hatred. So therefore metta is full, you are fully imbibed as far as you are mindful. You cannot be mindful with the painful body. You have to be mindful, at least at the beginning, with the full metta. Let the body sit comfortably, let the body sit symmetrically, let the body sit relaxed way, and that is what the practical metta.
Dear Bhante, when one stops cetana, thinking, while concentrating on the primary object, defilements do not arise. Likewise, if one is in sati most of the time, being mindful of what he does, will that help to stop kama arising with metta?
So it's a statement, but maybe it is not completely perfect. But these are the way you start little by little about the karma and karma results. But don't take it as a final. Keep on observing. As you practice, these your views, ideas, thoughts evolving. So it is not much important. Important thing is being mindful as long as possible.
Venerable Bhante, Thero Saranai. I feel that voidness or emptiness and nothingness are all the same. Intensity or sharpness of voidness varies from sitting meditation to walking meditation. Even within different sitting meditations, the sharpness is different. This sharpness of voidness depends on mindfulness. Voidness can be observed in normal life also, i.e. day-to-day life. But it is not such a high intensity as in sitting meditation. This is my experience. May I know if this is correct with metta?
So I would like to add, how much you can observe the nothingness without hatred is very sharp, very crispy, very knowledgeable. So therefore, how much you have the displeased or unsatisfactoriness or irritated with the nothingness or boredom or monotony, instead if you can be with that monotony or be with that nothingness and be with that boredom without hatred, it is really rejuvenating, completely rejuvenating. But this invariable hatred is ruining you. So therefore let the boredom happen, let the nothingness happen, calmness or the slimy mind happens or monotonous happen, and try to remove the element of hatred. You are a completely different person. And you can see it is rejuvenating you. So therefore it is full in our day-to-day life, not only in sitting, but our hatred is completely distorting the view. So go prepared that these things to happen, but don't look at it through hatred. Remove the hatred and simply the wisdom will replace. That is what you must take care.
Dear Bhante, when doing sitting meditation, the breath disappears after some time. This was happening for a few months, but for the last month, too many thoughts come and calmness is not happening. Always go back to breath. Did not get disturbed. Please advise how to gain mindfulness again. Sometimes very mindful and go back to breath. Am I to do noting for some time to develop mindfulness again with metta?
So this, you are already in mindfulness. There is nothing to teach you how to be mindful. Only the thing is how to be not to ill-treat thoughts. Don't have hatred for the thoughts. At the moment you become aware, as and when it happens, if you remove the element of thought, element of hatred, that also will cease to exist. Your hatred is the food or fertilizer for thoughts, so don't mingle with it. Just consider as if no thoughts, or even if thoughts happen, don't hate them, and they cease to exist.
Dear Bhante, please explain sati and mindfulness, the difference of these two mind states. Thanks, with metta.
There are two languages. Sati means Pali, mindfulness is English. That's it.
Dear Bhante, I find myself losing track of time. I tend not to remember which day of the week it is. Does this mean I am not maintaining mindfulness? Please advise with metta.
So that means before the God create the day, they create the world, there's no day and night, and everyone was in the paradise. You are very innocent, so forget about the date. So therefore, moment you learn the date, the day, your blood pressure, your sugar level, and your blood, this thing, you are burning the candle from the both the ends. As far as you don't know anything, you are living, it's a full living. Ask the doctor or your secretary to take care about. And you live. That's a very happy, even if you forget your name also in the Nissarana. That's a very good retreat. That's a word meaning of retreat. Otherwise, you are calculating how many dinners I lost. When I go back, how much I must get. How many papers I have to go and read. How many magazines I had. All the kind of thing means you are torturing yourself. So these are the tools. So you are forgetting about means your mindfulness is at work. It is making you fully contented. Without the date and day, you can be mindful. Whenever they are there, utterly you are not mindful.
Dear Swamin Vahanse, when observing breath while doing sitting meditation, the breath disappears and I experience a nice calmness. Every time I experience this calmness in doing sitting meditation. 1. Does kilesa diminish when one is in this state? 2. Will the lower fetters, sakaya ditthi, vichikiccha, sila bata pavamanase, paramase, be erased? Please explain with metta.
They may be going or disappearing or not, whenever you go to calculate whether available or not, you are not mindful, you are again asking defilements. So the Buddha says, as far the Buddha mentioned, defilements ever arises in terms of an object. Without object, defilements never work. So if you focus into an object and if you see object is disappearing, that means your kilesas are disappearing. More object, more clarity, more more conspicuous means kilesas are more conspicuous, more in number. So therefore removal of object means removal of defilement. But the thing is, how can you appreciate it? Even though you are theoretically appreciating the removal of the defilements, but when the object disappears, you get bewildered. Again you go for forced breathing, or mind fall into sleep, or you entertain doubts. You make these things as, or defilements as, your object of meditation. So let them wane off, tapering off, disappear, and be prepared. So therefore, even though you know which defilement is disappearing and which defilement is cutting off from the list, not necessary, but you feel the lack of frustration or lack of tension.
Most Venerable Bhante, my meditation values are as follows. When I observe the object of rising and falling, it disappears in about 5 to 15 minutes. As instructed by you, I think I am not dead or drowned, and I observe the changes inside me. For instance, heat, vibrations, hardness of the body. This will remain 5 minutes to sometimes 45 minutes when I am here. At home, the maximum is 10 to 20 minutes. Walking meditation, I feel relaxed and keep the mind calm. I was a very hot-tempered person and getting excited from the least event. Now I can't imagine how I am changed. I can face situations calmly and wisely. I am getting on very well with home people and the neighbors, going to temple and helping when necessary, but not unending rituals. I am further going on doing the process of meditation as above. My health is very good, and I am happy about that too. Thanks to all my meditation teachers, and especially to you, for directing the way properly, with metta.
So I would like to listen some report from the neighbors also, if possible. Maybe completely different. But anyway, at least your own appreciation is good, but wait till other party is going to give the character certificate.
Dear Bhante, while doing sitting meditation, breath disappears in no time and comes to a calm state. This continues for more than an hour. Last 2 days, when in this calm state, I nearly fell with a jerk. I am mindful again, went to breath in 2 minutes, calmness came. After a few minutes, I felt vast area up. With this observation, again nearly fell down. Please advise me. I was able to stay calm for about 2 hours, no pain, no thoughts or sounds. It was a very serene state with metta.
So at the beginning you start to feel big jerks and little jerks, and when and where it becomes season, that also disappears. These are some stages in your seasoning into understanding how to be with nothingness. So therefore at the beginning you have to put up with some kind of a jerks. Of course you are responsible for them, but more and more you practice, they become subtler and subtler, or you can predict them, or become somewhat familiar, and ultimately that also disappears. So therefore, this is the way it takes time to become mature, seasoned to this situation.
We're finished.
Yeah, so we have taken a little extra time or overtime. So that means little more than 1 hour we have already spent. So I am not going to invite any kind of further questions. So I would like to sum up today's question and answer session. We'll be meeting here again at 3 o'clock after a walking meditation. Thank you very much for the participation. Thero Saranai.